everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Joe's Rod Shop podcast. This is going to be a big one. Yes, this is huge. One, it's the people we're talking to, and two, it's actually a very long podcast. So I suggest get onto a Wi-Fi for this one because this podcast is 2 hours long, but it is a great conversation. But first, remember, click that like and subscribe button. You get notification when we actually put the posts out if you do it on YouTube, and leave some comments if you guys want. But first, SA Hot Rods Media is now launching our new website on sahotrods.com, so go check it out. Basically, we do content creation and social media and stuff for companies. So if you are in the automotive industry and your social media is getting you down and you don't have time for it, give us a call. We're happy to help you guys out and maintain that web presence for you. Like we say, you focus on doing the work, we'll make you famous. All right, now on to today's show. So we have Annie and Joel from Speed and Sound. Now we've come a long way together over the years with the two magazines, and it was actually amazing talking to them and actually finding the story behind Speed and Sound and everything that's been going on there. Now, I do want to say to the guys, get out, support the magazine. It's still out there, it's still on shelf, and it's just one of our last remaining great publications in the country. We're going to be supporting them as well, as you'll hear in the podcast. So yeah, get out there. But for now, get ready for Speed and Sound. So we have Annie and Joel from Speed and Sound. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much for the invite. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, has anybody actually sat you guys down and had a conversation of why in God's name you guys actually decided to create a magazine in South Africa?
We're not that interesting. Eh? we're very boring people. Eh? So.
No one's really got personal with us except the people around us.
So
why we start?
Yeah, well, where did it? I mean, that's actually where before we get to the cuck, which is reality at the moment. I want to find out how did Speed and Sound actually come to be?
I used to spend hours on end at CNAs just reading Max Powers and just seeing what's out there in the UK. But I could never afford the R100 price tag, so I used to stand at CNAs till my feet were dead.
Are we talking about in the 90s now, eh?
Yeah.
So it's a good couple of decades ago.
That is a shit long time ago. I mean, that was like end of 90s when you guys started, wasn't it?
Yeah, we launched in the year 2000.
Was it 2000?
It took us 2 years? It took us 2 years to have the balls to actually do it, like to leave our jobs.
Yeah.
Because we both obviously had paying jobs. I worked at Tiger Wheel and Tie as a salesperson, and then Joel was a graphic designer at a company he worked for, and it was just.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's one of those balls to the wall type of moments, hey?
Yeah, there wasn't really. I think back then we had Street and Strip.
Yeah, Willie's magazine. Yeah, there was Willie's Mag. Yeah,
and they had quite a bit of a following.
No, but he pissed off to Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad's car was actually on the cover of that one.
Oh, okay.
He's angry.
We never really met that guy. No. When we started going around in the industry, that was obviously after he decided to move away.
Yeah.
But we never really met him. We saw his product, but we never met the team behind him.
Yeah, he was only.
But when we started the mag, we were very wet behind like this. I mean, I had a bit of experience at Auto Trader doing magazines and stuff, but compiling content that you think the South African public would appreciate and support is a totally different.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're in the industry, you should know.
Yeah. So issue 1 to 10 is a blur. Issue 1 to 10 was a disaster. Issue 1 to 10 is embarrassing. grammar, spelling,
The swearing.
horrible layouts. It was such a massive learning curve that I don't know. It was a blur. But like fine wine, we sort of improved. But yeah, so 20 years later, we're still here.
Exactly. And that's all that counts, man. That's all that counts.
Yeah.
So take us, and I mean, over the year, you've guys done a shitload of stuff. From events with Top Gear that you guys got involved with. You guys had a TV show at one stage as well, didn't you? I mean, what crazy shit did you guys actually get into over the year, besides for the car builds and stuff, the stuff where you guys sit back now and go, oh, hell no.
I think we've been passionate about everything that we've thrown ourselves into. I think we were very fortunate that way, that we live our passion through our brand. So when these opportunities came to do stuff like Top Gear, have a TV show on Mnet, which was also in the early 2000s, and that was all for drag racing. We just threw ourselves at the opportunity to do it. I think to do something like that now, it's just a lot more red tape versus 15 or 18 years ago. To put something out on TV and to be out on a bigger medium, it was just a lot less red tape. I don't know if I would go down that route now, because it's too much effort. It's like a lot of effort.
There's just too much. I just can't deal with it. It's just,
too much.
But back then it was easy because you were the first. I mean, you guys had a great magazine, okay, and you had the backing and you had the market and everything. So everything you do, there was a first. Now there's just so much, and there's so much content and social media and stuff. You guys have so much to fight with constantly.
I think back then we had, I think the first 10 years we had about 8 other magazines competing with us.
Yeah, they came and went.
They did. I say sadly because competition was good, competition was healthy, and I say competition because back then magazines were massive. So it was good, it was healthy. We used to watch each other's work and see what each other was doing, and it kept us on our toes. But I think we had to expand it. We had to do other things. We had to do shows. We had to we found friends in the industry, in the corporate world that supported us, saw our vision, came on board with us, and we did shows. We did drag racing championships. We created a team that went national.
There we go.
National.
But we also had without the support of all the guys that used to race for us and do all this extramural activities, and I'm saying it extramural because every weekend we were never at home. They weren't at home with their families. They weren't at home with their families either. But we were also young, and it was also just so exciting. You get swept up in the moments, and when you wipe your eyes out, it's like been 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everyone now has got older kids, families. So, a lot of guys tend to fall off the wagon, sometime when families start getting older, teams start getting smaller, interest and passion start getting, it costs a lot of money. So what are you going to put into family or cars?
That's true. Yeah. But the one time it looks like you guys really took an emotional beating was when you guys did your Speed and Sound show. The last one, a big one at the Dome. I think when I looked at your messages and your posts, you guys just look tired. Like that show just took so much out of you guys.
Yeah. One day I just told Eddie, let's just do an expo. I mean, how difficult is an expo? Everyone's doing it. They're baby expos. There are freaking hobby expos. Let's do a car expo. How can an expo be? And it must be cheap. So let's try it.
I
What did you hate yourself for that conversation, bro?
It taught us manners.
I don't think my wife's forgiven me, actually.
No, I think that year was a blur for Joel and I, because we were, besides having to put a magazine out every month, we had a team to support, but if you know Joel and I, we control freaks. So we like to make sure that everything is done properly. So yeah, you wouldn't have recognized us that year at all. I totally agree with you. And I would not relive that year to do it again. I would not do an expo like that again unless somebody paid me to do it.
Like a lot. Like paid like a lot of money.
Yeah, like here's the money, please do an expo. Sure.
Yes, exactly.
I actually think the year that led up to the expo, I don't think we put in 100% to the magazine, because the expo really consumed us. It consumed every ounce of our body. Like planning, we used to sit up late at night, start early in the morning. It just consumed you 24/7 because there's just so much to do. And we just, being Speed and Sound, we just wanted to go bigger and better and
Yeah,
better.
you want to go by balls to the wall.
Sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes you can just have something small and it'll just, might be just as successful as a normal big one.
Guys,
but yeah, never, I don't know, never again.
I was blown away when I started seeing the photos and everything that came up and how you guys put that through. I was completely blown away with what you guys did. I actually took my hat off. I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. Really, it was absolutely phenomenal.
Thanks.
You guys did an awesome job.
Look, I think when the weekend hit, I think Joel and I sort of breathed. Did it pay? Did doing that expo pay for itself? No, it didn't. But if I look at the pictures, like you said, you know, sometimes I don't know. I love my passion for what we do, and I love to show, like to have done that event and to show people how passionate we are for the industry. I mean, they could have just walked into a normal bland hall, park their cars,
Exactly.
I take your money, and we disappear. You know what I mean? But we made it look like something.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know?
And even to this day, we get asked all the time, when's the next show? When's the next MotorX? Is there going to be a MotorX? And this is like 4 years down the line, and people are still asking. And it's
I don't think our industry has the corporate backing like first world countries do.
Well, not at the moment at all.
Yeah.
Now it's even worse. I mean, you guys know. I mean, I closed down the printed magazine, and I got a message today, and the guy's like, "Well, can't you just get a sponsor and get it back up and running?" And I'm like, "Oh God, those days are long gone." Of just picking up the phone, phoning sponsors, and go, "Oh, I want to do this," and they like, "How much?" Okay, cool, we're in there. That's just not going to happen, you know.
Joe, when did you stop print?
December was my last one.
Yeah, you know what? Besides COVID and social media, print is always fighting elements out there these days, eh?
It was like last year, the last 2 years to me, well, before COVID even. The podcast I put out today when I was talking to the guys from Drag Illustrators in the US, we were saying when SourceLink canned a bunch of magazines in the States, I saw that there was shit coming, because when you had the US getting rid of, like, what was it, 10 or 12 major titles in one day, so many big corporates lost, going, well, obviously print is not the way to go. Everyone's going digital now. And I started seeing that, even dealing with guys and stuff, where everybody started going, you know, I can get bigger reach on social media. I can do this, I can do that. And that love for print slowly started going down. Then the big one was RNA. When RNA closed down, I mean, you guys were with RNA as well. Wasn't that just a kick in the nuts?
That was, and we were with RNA for 20 years, and you know what?
I was 14. I
you
almost cried.
you expected that, you at least expected a telephone call to say, hey, guess what, we're not around. We didn't even get that telephone
Really? I know. I had Baba do
I had to,
my account.
yeah, I had to see it in the headlines, pick up the phone and phone. But what was sad to me about that was it was a very family orientated business. And the amount of people that lost their jobs like that, it's heartbreaking. You know,
It was
heartbreaking.
I
all
mean,
those titles gone.
exactly. I mean, that happened, and I mean, I was scrambling to try and get back up and running again, and I had to change printers, and I had to find new distribution, and we forgot that with RNA, it took us what 12 years to get that distribution to where it was, into those shops and all those shops. People forget that that is a long time to build up everything. And the new distribution came out and it just wasn't there. And pushing a magazine out, print costs going up, everything's going up because nothing. And Abby and I actually sat, and I'm not gonna lie, I was in tears. I'm like, I can't. I was physically losing too much money per magazine to go. I can't afford to keep it going. Yeah.
We're rebuilding, and we're certainly not printing what we used to print 3 or 4 years ago because of the cost of print and the change of the distribution as well. So we're now we're finding ourselves back in the year 2000, having to rebuild this brand with readers all over again. Because once you lose your face out in public, people forget about you, or they're like, you know, are they coming or are they going? And they're not too sure about the brand anymore because they don't see it often. So now it's to build that trust and confidence in your consumer again, you know. And we have plenty of messages like, we can't find the magazine, you know, and because it's not at the same stores it used to be in.
People get angry,
so, yeah, it's a rebuild. It's a rebuild of note. But you know what? Joel and I, we've never been scared of work. I've never been scared to sit down and work. You know, we're from Secunda.
I'm from Boksburg, please, people.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, no, it's been hard. It's been hard. It's been hard since this year has been a grinder because people are still coming off COVID. There are businesses out there that are hurting. There's a lot of guys hurting these businesses, and
I calculated a while back. I was working at one stage between 12 to 14 hours for 3 months straight, like non-stop, just to try and get things back up and get things rolling and get things working again. But
I mean, when we were,
that's one thing I wanted to say to you guys, though, is I love your magazine. I do. I mean, and I think the industry should get back behind you again, including me with the hot rods and stuff, because you guys are still there. We need to keep print going. Okay. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore, but it doesn't mean you guys can't. And I think the industry needs to get behind you guys, because you guys are still the face of the industry. You guys are still there. You're still talking to the masses. You are still there for the little Joel with his funny shorts to go stand and read the magazine at the, okay, well, CNAs are closing down like left, right, and center, but he can stand in a spa and he can go read it there, you know, but you guys are still there and you need to be there for that. And I think the industry should get behind it.
It's difficult, Sam. It's difficult. It's difficult waking up in the morning and finding that energy to do stuff, especially when people are still shaking off COVID.
Yeah.
Now, you know this feeling. You know the feeling of waking up, getting rejected all the time, doing the sales, doing the photography, doing the writing. It's, you know, I don't think people realize how much work goes into a publication, especially publications that give you home content. Our magazine's never been copy and paste. We don't get our articles overseas and just copy and paste
Hey,
it.
that's a stab. I only got a few articles.
None. No.
Okay.
No, not you.
Just kidding.
Not you. No, not at you. Not at you. We've always had a good relationship. Not at you.
In the past, that's what we always said. We used to always look at the more
commercial OEM kind of magazines. And their content was brought in from overseas, but they had like 25 staff members for what? Is it so difficult to copy and paste?
I never got that. I never understood that. But look, the OEM guys, I think that they've had a rough run, but look, they've always had big backing. Okay. And that's the one thing where we completely sucked at, is getting proper big backing behind us. And the problem that they kept facing, and I must, one point I want to take my hat off to them. They can't just do an article on a new car, because by the time they write, they've gone to print and they've done the car driving and shit. That shit's been on in the internet for months. Everyone has seen it. Everyone's been there. So I wanted to give them credit with coming up with new and exciting ways to reuse that content. Go put it up against this car, go put it up against this car. But at the same time, I'll be honest with you, I haven't bought car and these guys in years. And if I did 10 years ago, it was to see who was advertising in it. You know, it was never for the stories and never for it, because to me, the OEM stories always lacked soul. Doesn't make sense? There's nothing interesting. It's a new BM, okay? There's technology and buttons and shit, but there's no life behind it. It's not like someone's sweat and blood that's gone in to build that car, you know?
For sure.
But you know, you pick up the older car magazines before we started our publication, and they were very much into following the track guys around. They had articles of the Group N and articles of, you know, the guys racing around the country. I mean, to me, when they used to have that Winston BMW or whatever on the front cover, Winfield cover, yeah, that was interesting to me back then. How they changed and took their content from copy and paste to not supporting a local.
It's Tony Viana.
Tony Viana. And how they just stopped supporting the local motorsport racing, because they used to do it, and now there's no articles of it anymore. It's all overseas based motorsport articles.
I think if we go back to the OEM side of stuff with manufacturers, we've always had a problem where in their eyes, we always bastardize their cars.
I got the same thing. I had friends at Chevrolet, and they're like, Joe, we like you, but we can never advertise with you. We can't put our cars in your mag. You pull our motors out and put them in other cars. We're like, because they're prettier.
You guys make our cars go quicker, and which is bad.
Exactly.
But it's not bad. It's terribly exciting.
Yes.
So right now, I think the problem where we're fighting as a print magazine is that the market. I think the problem lies in the marketing side of the motor manufacturers right now, where most of the marketing people are young. I call them the digital bunnies.
Yeah.
They look at print. They don't understand print. Everything's moved to social. Print, what is this? Is this paper? How can it be paper? How are we going to do this?
Oh my God, how many trees went into this thing? You know?
So I think we're fighting a big battle with regarding to the marketing side of companies, because right now it's all the young up and coming.
Yeah, exactly. And if I have to hear one more fucking sentence about an influencer or something, I'm going to puke. Okay, it's no.
It's a new job description.
Yeah.
It's a new job description.
How is doing Nothing. A fucking job.
You can be an influencer. You can be an influencer.
He is an influencer.
You are. You got this podcast going. You're an influencer, man.
Oh God, no, I don't. Unless I influence more people to drink wine, it's great. Other than that, but so there's one thing. So I spoke to the guys the other day about this whole right to repair thing that's coming in now. I think in June or July. Okay, because I've had this. Obviously, like you guys, I've gone to a lot of press releases and all this type of stuff. And the problem with, because yeah, we're looking at car manufacturers or OEMs, okay? But the other side is parts, okay? So you've got the Ferrodos and the Safe Lines, and you've got all these brands and GUD and all this type of stuff. We're supposed to be supporting guys like you because their parts are aftermarket. You as a brand new BMW owner had no control over what parts go into your car, okay? Whether the guy's using Champion or NGKs, you don't care, you don't know, because you take your car to some guy with a tie and hand him the keys, and the next afternoon you go fetch it, okay? And things have apparently been replaced. I'm wondering, and I said, I'm wondering now when right to repair comes in, if it's going to open up the market for competing brands, which means this should actually, if you think logically, be a time for all these brands to get their names out there, because now there's a choice of what can go in. You can choose whether you want Motul, Liquid Moly, or Castrol in your car. You know, there should be a choice that comes in there, because that's what right to repair is supposed to do, is hand that choice back to you. Not just about who's fixing your car or who's servicing your car, but what goes into it.
Exactly.
So
if my turbo blows, I should have the right to choose a Garrett or a Turbonetics.
And boost you like,
How much
what
boost?
wheel you want in there?
exactly.
Like a big,
If I want fucking big ass Mickey Thompsons on the back of my Jeep, I want to. They should put them there. You know?
yeah.
I think when I read that, I was quite excited that that eventually opened up, because I felt that rule was a little bit narrow-minded, especially when you're putting so much money into your car, whether or not it had a warranty. And the fact that you can go now and service your car where you choose to service it, because it's yours.
Yeah.
You're paying for it, it's yours. Why do you have to be controlled? Why does society need to control you as a human being all the time?
Exactly. It just, but like you said, you got to hand it to the OEMs. They kind of snuck it in there beautifully, though, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
It was the moment you turned around and you're like, what do you mean I can't change the bonnet, or I can't change the grill, or what do you mean I can't change the tip of my exhaust pipe, or change my set of wheels and I lose warranty? Because that means that they took that entire individualism away of what makes petrol heads.
Yeah. But then on the other side of the scale, look at someone like BMW. They've invested millions into their whole motor plan. I love motor plan. I think it's awesome. I mean, you obviously pay three times the amount of a normal car, but in the day you've got your peace of mind knowing that, hey, they will do your service for nothing.
That's true.
And there are some guys in the workshops that overlook the modifications. It just depends on who you send them to. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to know a guy who knows a guy who's got a friend.
Exactly. Yeah. For years, they've been doing warranties and maintenance on cars that have been modded. They just don't know it.
I had a buddy with a SRT8 300C that would take his car to change the exhaust every time before it went for a service.
Oh.
He would take the car into a shop and they would like de-awesome it completely, and then he sends it in and they service it and it goes back, and then all the shit goes back onto the car again.
Oh, so you didn't have a go-to guy?
I think the go-to guy hated him more than anything else, which is funny because he's like from a small area. I mean, surely they would see this thing come through with straight pipes and then, it pulls in the next day and it's fine.
Yeah. But this rule also allows the scope of little workshops now to get more business.
Mm.
It's nice that, and I always root for the underdogs. Why does everything need to be channeled into corporate society when you have these little workshops that also, they do the exact same job? Yeah. These are retired BMW mechanics and specialists and VW specialists that open up these little workshops on the side. So this rule allows for business to everyone now, which is a good thing.
But like I said the other day, what I love about the specialty shops, but like you said, a guy who's an ex-BMW guy, is they fit in that generation where we are, which is between where they were a mechanic and a part fitter. Because modern guys are part fitters. They go, they plug it into the car says there's issues, and they replace parts until the red light goes away. So it's a modern look into it. They can still know the models and stuff to a point where you can pull in with the car and you go, well, it's doing this, and the guy goes, oh, it's normal. I know that we know exactly what part is done because we've changed 20 million of them in our lives already. Or no, we know you need to tick it here 3 times there and then say 3 Hail Marys and then it comes back together again and it's fine.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, we've always, even guys that we featured in the past that have done modifications to their cars, they always say, listen, I don't really want them to know I've done this to the car. The M3 guys, please don't say I've got a boot mod, or can you take the number plate out? Or
I know we had that as well. We had ones going, SARS doesn't know I actually own these cars, so please put a different name in and anything else, because if I get flagged for having 7 muscle cars, SARS is going to be on my ass.
Yeah, we had a few of those as well.
We used to do workshop. We used to do what's in your garage.
Yes, what's in your garage?
What's in your garage? We used to find a guy with like 7, 8, 10 cars in his garage, and it's like, you can come to a shoot, you can write a whole story, but don't mention me. Don't take photos of my face. I don't want to be in the story. It's just my cars.
And let's go take the photos somewhere very far away from my house. Let's go find a different neighborhood.
So I might as well just blur your face.
Exactly. Is that maybe why you guys went through that stage where you had people wearing like clown masks and that type of stuff? Because I think that would have been brilliant. Just put one of those purge masks on someone to stand next to their car, and take the photos from there. So what's your plans now?
We did a shoot with the clown mask. It was Duppy Duplessis 350Z.
If you know Duppy, he's had a history with us. I mean, he started when we started the magazine. He was the first one there. With his purple.
Yell at him because he's supposed to be on the show in the next week or 2, and he's been avoiding me like the plague. So next time just yell at him when you speak to him and say, "Come and talk to us."
He's a good guy. He's super busy though, but
no,
I'll let him know. Do you speak Afrikaans well though?
I am Afrikaans.
Kan jy die taal praat?
Ek is Afrikaans. Ek was in Afrikaanse skool en al daai kak gewees.
There we go. So you're gonna have to multi-language his
God, so I'm gonna have to run subtitles at the bottom afterwards.
But he's fun. He'll be fun on your show. He'll be awesome. Super fun.
Very cool.
But now, guys, where to next for Speed and Sound?
Oh, Jesus, can we just get through 2021 first? Jesus. At the moment it's day to day, so let's just get through 2021.
Get to 2021. Get the ball rolling again.
We're rebuilding.
No one answers their mails though. No one answers emails. That's what I noticed about 2021.
But do you want to yell at anybody while you're on here quickly and go, Chris, Peter, answer your fucking mail?
Oh no, I do think people are just everyone's hustling out there.
Ah,
You know,
but
everyone's multitasking.
that is true. I mean, I was talking, was it last night or the night before? I had a meeting with guys in the US, and they were saying and this is like big part guys in the US. They were saying the same thing. Everyone's hustling, doing 3 or 4 different things, at the moment. Because I mean, there's shortages for everything at the moment. Parts are struggling to come in from all over the world. They're struggling. The refineries are struggling because there's no minerals anywhere to make turbos and all this type of stuff. So all the refineries are struggling. So, and then that was funny. In the US, they've got that check. Everyone's getting like $600 or something. They said, so the orders are coming in for parts because all the petrol heads are spending their money from the government on car parts. So,
That's brilliant.
yeah, I said they've got orders coming out of their ears, but they can't fulfill them because there's no minerals in the country to do it. So it's just,
But you know, if they're feeling that, and they're a first world country, you can imagine the shockwave that's in our third world country, where our guys are battling to get their stuff through customs.
Yeah.
Often we can't. Often the client will phone and say, Annie, I have no new products. I can't put anything new on my advert. I can't put anything new in cool stuff.
I don't want to put anything on. I've got nothing in stock. I know that.
Yes. And you know, the aftermath of that, and that halts that person's business too. So he's just got to get by with whatever he has in his shop.
Exactly.
And add nothing new to that. So it's, you know, I can imagine like third world is having it much worse than first world. You know, there must be, because geez, our guys are feeling it definitely.
Exactly. And now, one thing I wanted to go past with you guys. Sorry, I know I said a half an hour and we're already over it, but I've got this issue that I've been looking at, and it's come around our lack of magazine. You guys have been pushing drag racing, and you guys have been pushing and racing. Why in God's name have nothing else been promoting it? Why have we never had TV and all these companies? And I want to hear it from you guys, because I mean, you guys have been there. You've been in the middle of racing and drag racing and promoting drifting and done that. Why have we never had the full support of TV behind motorsport? Or it's gone down. It's become less and less and less as years become.
I think it's too expensive.
That's bull.
To find sponsors helping you
Why?
on TV.
Rugby and cricket and all that other crap stuff is great, but why motorsport? Why is motorsport on its own fighting for everything? We know the numbers.
Ask yourself, why do you see so much boring rally and boring tar rallies and boring bike rallies? And there's enough money in the country to cover those things, but there's not enough money to cover the drift scene or the spinning scene on TV or the drag scene on TV, but we can cover all this other crap.
Because the guys who are involved in the other crap are the old guys with money.
Yes. Now you go and try and convince those guys that, hey, there's another side to motorsport where the youngsters are having quite a jolt. And it's probably one of the biggest spending generations when you look at motorsport. I mean,
I think there's more. I think there's more to the whole story than meets the eye. So I can't understand why one form of motorsport can attract big corporate funding
with no spectators.
No spectators, there's not much coverage, but the funding's there 24/7.
Yeah.
The off-road championships, the rallies,
someone is scratching someone else, scratching somewhere else, and something is moving. There's just, No, Joel, dude, I agree with you completely. It makes no sense how motoring events,
I know.
nothing.
And I know Red Bull got involved with the spinning, which was quite cool. Hats off to them. That's awesome to see a corporate getting involved in that side of the world.
I've offered Joel services to plenty of these guys, and they still won't bite. Yeah, I've offered these services so that we can get some funding to go on, but they don't want no.
Anyway, ignore her.
Dude, you got to shave.
No, there's something's not like there. Something going back to the whole chat. I think something's wrong there. I don't know what it is.
It's disheartening.
It is.
The other day, I'm not going to mention names. Someone went on social media and brought up a whole lot of rumors and stuff, and I was following it intensively to see what was going to happen, and it just died.
About a racetrack that's coming back or dying down.
No, something about MSA.
No, MSA and people's involvements in the corporate world.
Oh, you're talking about that law thing, and dude, that was like a crime scene. Okay,
it was.
crazy.
I was just watching it all the time.
My wife is here to bring me more wine. Sorry. Thanks, my love.
Hello.
She says hi.
I'm in bed watching Netflix.
She's in bed watching Netflix. So yeah.
That's good. That's
All
good.
right.
But so going back, I do wish there was more corporate funding with regards to other forms of motorsport.
No, MSA. I've got no affiliation with drag racing or MSA or something. Okay. That entire story that went through with court cases, and this is where money's going, and karting and all this type of stuff. You know, the thing that, and like I said, I was sitting like you. I didn't comment. I just sat, read everything, and looked at the responses. The fact that MSA response immediately was gag order. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. At no point is there, and or maybe I didn't see it. At no point did MSA come out and go, yeah, we know shit's bad, but here's a plan. This is what we want to do. Let's talk to people. Let's see what's going on. It's not. It's a fuck you, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Gag order, go to court, all this type of stuff. And now please give us money so we can do more racing. And then, but the money goes to racing that you don't want to fucking support.
Yeah. I think a lot was said, a lot was raised.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was enough to warrant what was said. On one side, there were gag orders, and all that.
Yeah. You stop
but
doing
but it was good that someone scratched the surface and it got people thinking. And now that you've mentioned about forms of motorsport that have been supported all the time, every year, through COVID, through whatever, they're always there. But the other forms of motorsport, I mean, take for example the extreme supercars.
Yeah.
It is pretty high end, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
And they get like 20 cars
Exactly.
at an event. It's awesome. And then you get another new series, which is relatively new, which has like 6 cars.
Yeah.
With massive funding, massive corporate funding, and it just doesn't add up. I don't understand.
With no TV coverage, no promotional coverage, absolutely nothing. So can anybody explain to me in straightforward that someone sat with a fucking marketing company and went, well, we're going to do this new series and here's the numbers, because we know it's about the numbers. Okay. You want sponsorship? Show us the numbers. What are we going to achieve? What is this going to do? What is this going to do for our brand? Now you're sitting down and someone signed this off when you have current motorsport things, 10 times the amount of numbers, and they can't get a cent. Makes no sense.
they throw all the money at those 20 and it's 6 cars. And when you go to an average, okay, before COVID hit, because drag racing is now pretty much on privateers events. Privateers events these days, you can only get maybe between 30 to 40 drag races at a time at the track. But before COVID hit, let's talk over the last 5 years, easily 100, 120 drag cars.
Exactly.
Easily,
what was your spectatorship on drag events? I mean, I saw last week Saldana sold out.
Yeah, look, so you must remember we're under COVID laws.
Yeah,
it's
I know
what they sold out under. But drag racing in its form, from the smallest town you'll get 1,000 people to the biggest town where we've experienced crowds of 15 to 17,000 people.
Yeah, I won events at Killarney. Okay, now we're talking way back, but they actually broke down the walls, the public, on the outside, just to get into our event. So it was massive.
I had a show at Killarney years ago, and I think I had over 5,000 people at an event.
Yeah.
And
So at a pretty good drag racing event, you'll get 5,000 people, say minimum 5,000 people, and you go to an average track day.
Yeah.
There's not much is happening. There's not a lot of people. But you see a lot of corporate identity and a lot of corporate attendance and funding. But
and I'll be honest, when you walk around, because Joel did chat for a little while, when you walk around Swartkops, for example, it's intermediate family that are there with the aunties and the uncles and the nephews. Yeah. How many of those people were actually paying spectators? Yeah. Because most of that pit was filled with family members. Yeah. And when you go up and you watch them going around the circuit, you know, how many of those people were proper paying spectators?
That's because the majority of the guys that's driving in there do the funding. Their companies do the sponsorship and stuff behind it, and that's where the funding and stuff gets. That's where the sponsored corporate or the corporate sponsoring. Also, they are connected because normally it is CEOs and this type of stuff that's got a little bit of extra money and wants to go racing.
Yeah. So that also I think the marketing teams nowadays, I don't think they got their heart. They don't have the same passion as we do for motorsport. To them, what I feel personally, it's just a job. It's just a paycheck to them. Yeah. So if an event comes, they'll look at it. Okay, what is this about? It's a race event. Okay,
look at the glamorous cars. Look at all these glamorous high-end cars.
I don't think there's any.
I don't see a Lambo I can take a photo next to for Instagram. So obviously this must be a shit event, you know.
But yeah, so I believe there's an awesome series coming up. High-end series. I think it was Stradale Motorsport. They had a bit of a press release the other day.
Yeah,
I didn't see a lot of the high-end cars, which looks quite interesting, pretty exciting. But other than that, it's a bit COVID-y right now. People are like, you know, the other day we did have an awesome drag event, the Elite Massacre, which
I saw that. Didn't Ralph come through with his Camaro and that type of stuff as well?
Yeah, just what an awesome machine, eh?
Yeah, Ralph and that Chevy, it was awesome.
I know Annie's got a soft spot for Camaros. It's apparently it's a woman thing. My wife as well. She's like, no. Until there's like a 68 or 69 Camaro, and then she's all in.
One day when I'm old.
Isn't that like 3 months? Sorry, Annie.
Guys, you're as old as the person you feel in the dark.
But he's old as fuck. So. No, you guys are awesome. Listen, if you guys want, look at I interview guys weekly, and I'm gonna cut this out. If you guys want guys to talk about, because I mean, this is one thing I started figuring out when I started doing the podcast. No one's fucking talking. No one is raising issues, and saying, well, this sucks, and why is this going on? And no one is actually having this fucking conversation the whole time. And I mean, I barely touched on it when I spoke to Vic. I mean, Vic, if you go back and you watch that episode, he was bitching about MSA. He was massively bitching about MSA. And
you know, don't cut this out. I just sometimes feel that people are quick to blame a bigger picture instead of helping the solution.
True.
So if you are finding a problem and you are being a bit bitchy, sit down and see if there's a solution to sort out a problem.
Exactly.
You know,
and also we
MSA
need to talk about it. People.
Yeah, MSA has moved. Like they have moved their focus. They have moved their focus to more corporate motorsport. Drag racing back when we were doing so many events back in the 2000s. MSA were on our asses all the time. I would get phone call from MSA every day. They were my best friend because the amount of licenses we were writing for them at that stage when we were doing the national series, it was they were making so much money, and then suddenly something happened behind closed doors and they walked away. You know, I don't know. Like I sat on the MSA drag racing board for a little while with Gavin Wilkins, and I could slowly see a change coming about. But I think it was because of new management or however they have structured themselves. But I believe that they can be approached. I don't think anyone's unapproachable. Yes, let's all blame MSA. Let's get this big bandwagon out and say fuck them and whatever. But at the end of the day,
I'm not with the go fuck them. I'm going get someone from fucking MSA to talk to us. Get someone, and I actually did this. I sent a mail to some of them, going, guys, come on the show, come talk. We need to actually get someone from MSA on something like this and go, okay, now talk to us. What the fuck? Okay, what's happening with drag racing? Where are we going? Where's the focus? What are you guys doing? Surely, I'm from a corporate mind perspective, there's a reasoning behind everything. Fine. What is your reasoning? If you guys are making these decisions on everyone's behalf, there must be a reason behind it. But tell us what it is. Don't just make a ruling and not back it up. You know?
Yeah.
But I also feel that if I'm going to belong, and I always felt that when we were even doing things with MSA, that I felt that if we were going to belong to a higher, subscribe to them where they are, their insurances and whatever the case may be. Like FIA, they have facilities. MSA should have motorsport facilities available to hire. You know, they want to make all this money. I don't see them putting anything back of value into the sport. I do not see them building a monumental drag racing strip or a rally track or whatever the case may be to give back to the sport. You know, everything back then when we used to was a give. And we'd receive nothing. We used to create all these events and sign up all these. And at the end of the day, the track still had to pay MSA to be an MSA track.
Exactly.
And do the barriers and do all of that stuff. But what has MSA actually done for the sport?
Exactly. I've got big brands in the US that's talking to me about drag racing in South Africa. Okay. And they're going, oh man, so what can we do? And they go, do you guys have an international track? If we want to send a guy in a car to South Africa to go, and I'm like, well, not really, you know? So we kind of had this blockade where we can't do much more because we're limited by our tracks. Okay. We don't have an international track anymore. Or we're not sure about the history of what's going to happen with the international track. And I'm saying that as I have no information at this moment about it. we want to try and address numbers behind it, because drag racing is still one of the most exciting sports there is, motorsports there is, because it's fast, it's short, it's not like watching a fucking 3-hour race. It's on, changing constantly, and it's got the biggest spectator level, but there's nothing behind it.
And it's happening on the streets. I don't have to race. I don't have to go to a drag strip. It's happening on robot to robot.
Well, all MSA is doing is actually pushing more people back onto the street at the moment.
Exactly. But you know what? Even if MSA was in place, they went on that whole campaign of that street to strip, where don't race on the streets. My dad raced on the streets. His father raced on the street. That's something in our culture that's just never going to go away. That's the cloak and dagger side of the industry that makes our industry exciting. It's not going to go away.
True.
The fact that the tracks are less accessible to the guys racing on the street, there will always be street racing.
Yeah.
I enjoy a milkshake. I love my strawberry milkshakes in the middle of the night on a Sunday. Who doesn't go there?
When MSA was heavily involved with drag racing, they set a structure with drag racing. I think it was with Nico van Rensburg and his dad, Johan as well. What's his surname? Johan.
Late Johan, no.
I forget his name. So they set rules, safety rules for everyone. Yes, they were harsh. You had to spend to make your car as safe as possible, and you did that. And the late Wally Papas, who passed away recently,
yeah, I know.
He was the one that made sure every one of us adhered to the rules, and we got home safely.
Gavin Wilkins played a fundamental part of MSA back
so
when
now,
drag racing started.
So now you go to a drag racing event, and it looks like a free fall, because
all that's gone.
Yes, we've got scrutineers. There are some scrutineers which come from the Wally Papas days, that they were taught back then by the MSA back then, which still enforces those safety rules. But some drag events, there aren't any proper safety rules enforced.
There's no liabilities. There's no.
What?
Yeah, it's
MSA
scary.
has lost
it's scary.
No, drag racing has lost that structure since MSA walked away from drags. It's scary. You don't have that.
Eddie, my question is it not time to start something, a different association? Is it not time to turn around and go, well, we can, because I feel when I started the magazine, there was this talk about creating a hot rod association. Okay. And I had meetings with clubs and blah, blah, blah. And I sat down in the clubs with the club meetings, and they were talking about the association. But when it came down to the conversation, the only reason they wanted association was to manage the Street Rod Nationals, which was a motor show. Okay. And I sat down and I'm like, well, one, it's stupid. Because I see there's a lot more issues in modifying cars than just who owns a motor show. Especially when it comes to welding and chassis building and all this type of stuff. There's a lot of shit that can go wrong. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff that can kill our industry because some moron didn't know how to weld properly and no one checked it. And that was my mindset behind it. And I always sat from then, and that's why I stopped dealing with clubs and all this type of stuff, because the mindset to me just doesn't make sense. People have these goals and these things that they're trying to protect, and they hold these things up high for some other reason, and it doesn't make sense. Okay, isn't it supposed to be a point where you have support of the market, you have support of everybody, and turn around and go, listen, if no one's going to look after drag racing, then we need to look after drag racing. Then it takes a different body to come together. MSA is not going to support us. If we're doing all the work but we're spending, giving money, everything to its association, that's not putting that money back into what we need to do to improve our racing. Why the fuck are we giving the money then? Shouldn't we just create a different infrastructure and go, guys, okay, MSA, for drags, screw you. You can go piss off, okay? This is our tracks. This is where we want to go. The money we spend, because we're not a first world, okay? If Talton came back up, that's one track. That's one international track we have to look after. There's maybe 4 or 5 racetracks around the country that really, from a drag perspective, that we need to look after. That is it. We don't have hundreds. We have 5. And if we're turning around to all the drag races and we're going, guys, we need to fix drag racing. Just drag racing. We're not caring about everybody else. They can go sort out their own cock. All right? It's drag racing we worried about. How do we fix that? We have numbers. We have support. We have the cars. We have everything. How do we make that happen? Maybe
there's a definite line there between drag racing. There's the street racing, drag racing. I call it street races, drag racing. Those are the massive group of people that go to the likes of the Rock Raceway on a Wednesday. They don't race competitively, but they race passionately, and they go there every Wednesday and they do their 0 to 200 and they're more than happy, and that's it. And then you get the other group of drag racers which pay the money, want to run the times, want to be recognized internationally and nationally, which is very small. So the ones on the other side.
John, how do we find the gap, bro? So find the gap. I don't know. Find the link. That's the thing, is we need to find the link. Because at the bottom of the line, the only word that's in both sides of it is drag race. Okay, is the race part. We need to figure out then how do we put it together.
I think communication is your biggest thing of solving problems. If people could just sit down and communicate instead of having egos and putting politics ahead of what needs to get done. If people just sat down and communicated, we would have a more effective way of running drag racing than any other motorsport, because I believe we do have the talent. The guys that are in drag racing at the moment, we have the talent to lift that sport up quite high. But if we had just sat down as the players in the industry and just sat down and communicated, communication is the biggest problem that we have, because no one wants to communicate, like you said. No one wants to sit down and put their balls on the table and do something about it. They want to hide behind all this "I'm a good guy" scenario. I don't want to get involved, instead of actually just, hey, listen, I can help the situation. Let's sit down and talk.
I think people just want to race.
Yeah.
People want to race. If they've got an extinguisher or not, whatever, they just want to race. If they race without a helmet or not, they just want to race. I think maybe because we're in the wrong era. The era 10 years ago was awesome. There was West Bank, there was Fast and Furious. Wednesday nights, the Southside crew, they made it pop. They made it explode.
Now Fast and Furious one, they're fucking going to space. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, now we're going to space.
I can't watch the Fast and Furious movies. That thing is it's a love story. It's a Milton Boone's book.
If I have to listen to Vin Diesel fucking grunt and flex one more time, okay. Have you noticed he doesn't even talk in movies anymore? He's like, and then flex some fucking neck muscle. I think he said more in Gardens of the Galaxy than he did in the last fucking Fast and Furious movie. Anyway.
Yeah, it's becoming like Bold and Beautiful now. It's done.
It's fun. Like I said, I like the conversation, and I agree with you. And if we can get the people and we can do this together, and we can get everyone, and I mean, everyone's sitting in their lounge, and we can just have a conversation. In fact, we can put the conversation out to people that's out there and go, this is an argument that is actually going on, and we can get feedback. Because,
And you know what? Arguments in life are healthy. We are not
exactly,
going to get along with
I had
everyone.
one with my wife earlier.
At least you know where you stand with someone. So if we are arguing and you make up afterwards, it's good because everyone's got a point, has got a point to put across. You know, so arguments are healthy and they sort out issues.
Yeah.
Keeping quiet doesn't sort issues out.
A friend of mine once said to me, and it was the same with when it came to relationship. Any form of relationship has expectations, and if you're not talking about what your expectations are, and if you're just thinking about what your expectations and all this person's not meeting my expectations, but they don't have no fucking idea what your expectations are, you're not going to communicate and you're not going to get anywhere. And it's the same whether it's a business relationship or it's a personal relationship, is you need to talk about
Joel, when we got into this relationship, he knew he had to cook, clean, wash the windows, wash the cars.
Dude, are you the
small
same
grind,
one as me?
Make up the bed, brush my teeth, make me coffee.
Yeah.
He knew the responsibilities.
I see you married to a princess as well.
Sure.
Joel's sitting going, oh shit, I should have drank wine with Joe.
No, I'm thinking of all the car parts she still needs to buy me for all the dishes that I did.
Listen, at least she's involved. She's in cars. My wife's in horses. Okay, that's not even exciting. Yeah. So
how's the hot rod scene? What's happening? How's people building hot rods?
Dude, the build. I just got like an amazing photos of an amazing build that's being done. I did season 4 of the TV show that was on Ignition. Phenomenal. I mean, my numbers are huge. I mean, the show is hitting some serious good numbers. I don't know if it's because people were stuck at home, but the feedback we got from the show is huge. The shops, a lot of the shops that we featured are full, as in the one shop I think filled up the whole year in 2 weeks after the episode came out. It's something that we always keep saying, guys will always build cars, or not guys, people will always build cars, whether there's a recession or what's going on. We love cars. We will always touch cars. So if it means that instead of buying that part, you can do it this month, you're going to have to wait 2 more months to make up the money for it. That's what you're going to do. So our industry is still going. It's still, guys are still going. We're still getting features in. I'm still doing features, but the only difference is now I'm putting features out on social media instead of running them into print. And then what I've started now is I started SA Hot Rod Media. So I actually help companies now with their social media. So I do a lot of videos. We actually manage social media. We're busy working on e-commerce systems and all that type of stuff. So I'm trying to work on the other side because, Annie, like you said, I'm looking at it and I can bitch about what's going on, or I can be part of the solution. You know, I have the contacts and the infrastructure to talk to companies all over the world and get access to people. And I can get hold of guys to get involved in anything that we need to do. And I'm not just saying throwing money behind it. I'm saying getting parts and this type of stuff. And that's where I want to get to more than anything else. Is I love the country. I love the industry, and I want to help the industry. So I'm trying to, and this is one of the reasons why I want to talk to you guys, is how do we get there? How do we sit back and go, man, shit's got fucked up. Okay. And it's not just because of COVID. Okay. This is all the shit that's been going on. Why is everything so divided? And how do we put it back together? It was the same as when I said earlier about you guys in the magazine. Okay. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of times when I had SA Hot Rods where you guys would post that you guys would have a hot rod or something. I'm like, motherfuckers. And then the one day I looked at it and I'm like, actually, I need to send Annie a thank you message, because all you do is promoting hot rods for me at the same time. You're still promoting the industry. And now there's you guys. It's just you guys that are left. I don't know if anyone's left because I don't take notice of them. But we need to now stand behind you guys and go, okay, cool. So what do we do? How do we get that out? Because you still play a vital part of the industry. Your magazine is still out there. You're still in print. You are still the only thing that people can hold in their hands. So,
You know,
I'm sending you cards, by the way, to feed.
I take that personally, because of the work that goes into a magazine, and you should know, it's a lot of personal work that goes, and dedication and time that goes into a product like print. And everyone, at one stage people were like, oh, print is dead, we're not interested in print anymore, whatever the case may be. I said to Joel, I don't mind becoming that niche magazine. We might have reduced our numbers, our sales might dwindle or whatever, but I don't mind becoming that niche publication that hangs around, that people still want to buy, because you worry where print is going. My kids don't pick up a publication. I sometimes have to open shop and buy a magazine for them.
Yeah.
So, you say that it's worrying. It worries us, But
Well, guys,
we'd like to create, going forward. Speed and Sound is a very niche lifestyle publication. It doesn't have to cater and be liked by everyone, but we still like print to be around when our grandchildren are born.
Annie, I think you made the comment the one day when we all had coffee, was whether people love or hate you, they were still buying it. Okay. The people that was hating it would buy the magazine so they could tell you what they were hating about it. Okay. So we want to say thank you to the people that were buying the magazine because they hated it.
There was one stage where we were hated for featuring so many Golf Mark 1s.
Oh God, yes, you did. Guys, you did. Yeah. Okay.
But you know what? How could you not?
No, but no. I had the same thing, okay? And I actually openly said to someone the one day, they're like, man, every time I pick up SA hot rods, it's Mustangs and trucks. And I'm like, yeah, because they fucking sell magazines. Every time I had a fucking C10 or a Ford F-150 and a Mustang on the cover, my sales would go up. I could put the best Ring Brothers, Camaro, that, is the pinnacle of everything motoring. And a proper car guy would look at this and go, oh my God. And my numbers would go, why? It's not a fucking Mustang. Okay. So that was the most frustrating part for me. I understand why you had so many Golfs on, but I just didn't want to tell anyone.
We've always had our ups and downs with cars. Like, we'd put a car on the cover, think, wow, this is gonna be awesome, and it crashes and burns completely, and then you'll put something ARB on, and it all of a sudden it just sales go through the roof.
You don't understand. The magazines that I've done, which I've hated the most, okay, is the ones that did the best. Where I look at it, and when afterwards it arrives and you open that box and you get that new magazine smell, which I don't think a lot of people understand, and you open it up and you go, oh, fuck, gee, and you're like paging through, oh God, look at, oh no, did I really? And you like throw it down and go, oh shit, I'm going to be broke. And then the numbers come out and it's like, whoa. And then that one where you poured your heart and soul in, and it was, you feel like you really nailed everything. And it comes out and you're smiling, and then the numbers come out and you're like, what the fuck? No. How did people not see? And I put it down to our perspective of everything. How I always said, and I got this a lot with the magazine. Okay, a guy would send you a message and he'd go, so a lot of people said that you should do this. Okay. And I picked up when they go, a lot of people said, it's like, so it's you and like your three buddies that had beers. And you guys had this fucking discussion that I should do this more. I should feature more of this. And they're like, yeah. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, but that's
I think
three people.
our biggest thing was when we launched the magazine, we launched with 300 pages. And back then they used to cut the trees a little bit thicker. So your paper was a bit thicker back then. And then as years gone by, technology has changed. And now the paper is like super thin. Right. And our pages are also, magazines also super thin. So we used to get and we still get dragged over the coals on how thin the magazines actually got. People don't realize the cost of print.
Yeah.
And people are like, but you print so many, surely it's cheap. It's like, all right, sure. We're not printing a flyer. It's not a one-page flyer. This is like 100 pages in a magazine that gets printed 50,000 times, or whatever the print is. They don't realize the cost of that. But when we first launched the magazine, print was not as expensive as we find it today. So yeah, we can afford the 300 pages, and the content we came up with back then was hideous, man.
No, but there's a knock-on effect. There was more companies printing magazines back then, which means that printing companies were importing more paper at that stage. Okay? There was more of everything. So they would look, I mean, I had it where they would look at you and they go, listen, don't you want to print on this paper? Because we've got like 20 rolls. And you go, okay, how much discount is that? Oh, this is like 30K off my print book. Done. Let's go. We can add.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. So you had more magazines. Yeah. You had more magazines printing back then, so for them to print so many papers, not as high as what it is today. So now the paper also available is you get different grade paper too. But, you know what I'm saying?
Joel, I have to put, I want to put this out there. I have to take my hat off. So my magazine were like 60, where I was 64, 80 pages. I think I went up into 90. You guys did 300 pages. Okay. And I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of designing. Okay. Man, that is a lot of designing.
We had a good team. I won't lie. Our team was, we probably had the best team.
You guys
we had the best team a publisher could ask for. We had 3-4 designers that were shit hot. They knew exactly what we wanted. They were petrol heads, and I think we found the right team, man. And I think they also took to the industry. But going back to the page count and everything, back then there were a lot more companies that were in the lifestyle. When Fast and Furious came out, so there were a lot of other companies. So I mean, back then I think there were like maybe 10 wheel companies, for example. 10 or 12, 5 or 6 suspension companies, thousands of spoiler companies. The sound industry was massive, man. There were a lot of brands of the car audio brands. They were in your face. They were all over. They were seen everywhere. So yeah, we were 260 odd pages, but 100 of it was just advertising with companies that saw value in our magazine.
Dude, I swore at you guys every month. I had my pissy little magazine. I'm sitting next to you guys. I'm like, oh, God damn it. You know, you guys are just doing so well. And people didn't understand was, as much as we had two different sides of an industry, a lot of the stuff we were eating out of the same pool, if I want to put it that way. So we're all fighting at the same fucking marketing company. We're all fighting it for the same piece of the same pie. And it's not, that issue was because we're in South Africa. If this was the US, it would have been completely different. I wouldn't give a shit what you guys were doing, because my market and my part guys and my suppliers and everybody would be completely different to what yours were. But because we're in South Africa, we're in the same pool, and that was the whole thing. So that every now and, like you said,
to get and people say to me, and yes, you guys are successful. What do you mean by successful? Because all I see is us working our asses off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People don't realize, and I must say this again, how much time and effort it takes to produce content. Even back then when we launched, 300 pages don't get magically just put together up in the sky.
People look at your magazine.
We were grinding. We were grinding.
Guys, people were looking at your magazines, and they were looking at you guys on weekends at car events and drag events and going, oh man, they're living the life. What they didn't see was you weren't at home with your kids. And
my kids have grown up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wipe my eyes out. Yeah. I'm sad about that. I'm talking over you now because I'm sad about that. Again, we built a successful business, but to the detriment of what? Not seeing my toddlers. I used to drop them off all the time with his parents. We'd see them every now and then you wipe your eyes out, and now they're young adults, and you've missed a part of their life. Grinding all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. I'm sad about that.
Another thing is, I don't think people understand, to put out a 96 page, for example, that's what we're doing now. Okay, so with COVID, printers take a bit longer to print. Distribution takes a bit longer to distribute.
Yeah.
So essentially, to make from page 1 to page 96, we got about 2 weeks.
What?
To do photos, plans, write, do layouts, prepare. We still do video work.
Okay, people, that is a fucking lot. That is a short time.
No. Yeah, it is short. It is
2 weeks. I mean, our ex-staff would know. It was not easy. There were days where I said to them, you have to come in on public holidays, but we swapped days over. The hours of print was relentless. And the guys sometimes sat, but you should know, you sit in the middle of the night trying to finish an advert here or there, or a layout here or there. 2.5 weeks, that's all we had between issues.
That's crazy.
And it was constant, it was monthly. So, yeah.
And our team worked, they worked. We had the best publishing team back then, best.
So now is it just you two? How big is the team now?
We actually freelance our stuff up.
Okay. So don't worry, I did the same.
We use freelancers. We still got Naresh, who's our trusty car audio, because I know shit about sound. Okay?
You're like me.
I think
the knob and it goes louder. Okay, I don't give you a fuck.
I think it was
Brett from Rockford tried to explain it to me, and I'm like, yeah, no, this doesn't. It goes louder.
I think it was issue 3. We had Paul Berta's Opel Kadett on the cover. I think it was issue 3 or issue 4. It was just called Speed. Our magazine was just called Speed. If you look at it, it just said Speed. There was no and sound.
Yeah.
But then we said, okay, you know what? We need the car audio. Let's put it back. So it became Speed and Sound. If I had my way, it was just the magazine would just be called Speed. I know shit about sound. Don't talk to me about amplifiers and all. I mean, I used to go to Bruma Flea Market and buy 6x9 Sakinos, and I was happy.
Exactly. Brett from Rockford, because I did a bunch of stuff. He's sitting, he's explaining to me, and I'm like, dude, it's fascinating. But does it go fast? That's a bit, like I said, that's.
Don't you think Brett looks like Ted Danson?
He does, doesn't he? He does. I love him. He's absolutely
Yeah,
nuts, but I do love the guy. But guys, listen. So what was supposed to be like half an hour turned out to be an hour or more.
Sorry, man.
No, it's fine. No, this is fine. Listen, Annie, I'm with
You can chop things up.
No, fuck
take
it. I'm
all the
putting the
boring
whole
stuff
thing
Yeah,
on.
don't edit it.
No,
That's
I'm not.
awesome.
I'm actually gonna put the.
I love raw stuff. People must see you for who you are sometimes. Don't cut anything out.
I'm so happy the conversation didn't go to Hondas.
Dude, you and your Hondas. I mean, even
Everton.
Oh, yeah. I roll my eyes so hard they actually hurt sometimes. But guys, listen. I'm gonna put the whole thing out. And seriously, if you guys know of anyone, like I said, I think let's talk. If anything, if this podcast thing, I mean, I'm got a good following and stuff on this. If it becomes at least a portal where guys can fucking say something and we can start getting shit going in a direction, then let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get a bunch of guys together.
What would be nice for you to do is also have a look at the older guys on your show, like Gavin Wilkins. He contributed so much to the sport.
I'd love to.
Back then. No one in this generation actually knows the path that he created for drags in this country either.
Yeah.
He's
So
a
let's get
very
him on the show.
interesting guy. He's a beautiful person to speak to with regards to, and he is so passionate. He's retired now. He's walked away because I think politics is, when you've been so long in the industry, you just when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you're done, And he would be a great person to chat to on your show.
There's also Sabi. Sabi could see he's the first guy to run an 8. He ran an 8 in a streetcar in 1980 something.
Yeah.
I mean, he does it.
Yes.
So old Bert Reynolds, but yeah.
But what I'll do is I'll send you a list. I'll send you a list of who I think would be interesting. Yeah.
I'm going to. So here's what I'd like to do with you guys. So obviously I've still got guys talking to me about cars and features. So how about we get those features through to you guys? I've still got journalists and stuff out there. I've got guys who are supplying me with cars and that type of stuff, whether it's local or internationals, because I've got guys that supply me cars from like the Ring Brothers and Speedcore and all the big guys in the US and stuff as well. So let's work with you guys. And the local car builds, the local hot rods, and at least then we can, if you guys are happy, I'll send the articles and it's ready written, stories, photos, all is done. Nice package. You don't have to run a spell check; it will be sorted. And we can get it. Like I said, and let's see how we can push from us. What I'm saying is, let's see how we can help you guys at the same time, because you guys, I mean, Speed and Sound, you guys are there. Let's push the market, and if it means that we get more guys involved in the industry to come and talk, then let's do it, and we'll see how we can work it together.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like more sleepless nights.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking who needs sleep? So, but let's do it. I mean, look, we ended up where it was basically you guys and me at the end, and now it's just you guys. And I'd rather turn around and see how do we support, and how do we keep a printed magazine going in South Africa.
That's what. Yeah.
I'm actually sad that you pulled.
Dude,
because I think the hot rod scene needed you. I'll be honest. Every time someone showed us hot rods, I always say, you know what? I think you guys should rather speak to Joe, because that is Joe's industry.
And he just cuddle him quickly for me.
No, it's happened a lot of times. For us,
I did the same.
We were more of the street car. I think you hit the nail on the head with regarding hot rods and stuff.
I did the same. When guys sent me cars, Mark 1 Golfs and all this type of stuff, I would go, guys, rather speak to Annie and them, because that's not our market. Because I believe towards the end a lot there was the clear market between the two of us from who we were going. Because if you actually look at it, I think towards the end, we didn't even have any of the same advertisers anymore. I think the only one that was a cross between both of us was RS and VH Shop. That was it. Yeah. We over the time period built two completely separate markets away from each other. More than
100%.
else.
Oddly enough, eh? Yeah,
Exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Very
We did.
cool.
And look, as much as everyone is still asking me, will I do it again and will I start the magazine again?
That's what I wanted to ask.
I'm like you with the show. If you throw a lot
like,
of money behind me.
Can we get through 2021?
Exactly. Jesus Christ. Let me at least finish something first and then I'll get to the next one, you know. I'm trying to just get back to earn to a point where I can actually pay all my bills, you know, more before I can start thinking about expanding on.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, listen, I don't know how it went for you guys, but when lockdown hit, it's like a month and a half in, and I had welfare dropping food off at my house. I went like from I had a good year planned and everything to fucking on the ground, like focal.
Yeah, no, I mean, January came around, end of Feb, we all had our vision. We all had the cheers, Happy New Year, let's do this thing. And then come March, April,
I had a huge season of the TV show.
We had to take our kids out of school. You know, we had to take our kids out of school. But I think every sector and every family suffered behind closed doors to get what they needed to do. A lot of people don't sit and talk about their sufferings either because it's personal. Exactly. You know.
But that was one thing when I started doing the podcast. I thought I don't want to come across that everything is fucking all rosy and happy and sunshine and everything is fucking great, because it's not. I mean, we had I was talking to Brett the one night, because I was talking to a bunch of guys in the US, but I was doing Zoom. And I was talking to Brett from Rockford, and I said who I was talking to. And he actually said to me the one day, why don't you start the podcast? Why don't you start talking to people? Because I was listening to like Joe Rogan and those guys. And that's when the whole process, that's why he was the first guy on the show. And that's when the process and stuff started. But I was actually started the show because I was losing my fucking mind. I was completely, because like I said, my TV show was out, all my sponsors, everything on the TV show is gone. Magazine's gone, printing is gone, you know, distribution gone. You know, you sit and within a matter of weeks, your entire life just crumbled around it. And then you look at, you know, I had like a 1-year-old baby and a 3-year-old and my wife and everybody sitting around me, and you're like, ah. I mean, I remember I did the interview with the Gottliebs from Big Red, and I did the one with the pit crew, and then I did the one with Gottlieb between the two, and they said to me, "Oh, they're grateful for doing this. What do we want?" We're like, "Oh, well, just give us like a donation or something like this." And the next thing, my PayPal account pushes $1,000.
How awesome.
And Abby like burst into tears completely, because that meant that we could pay our rent and buy food, you know, for like a month. So you sit and, like I said, and I think that it's the experience made us more humble and really.
Yeah, I agree.
Really look at
it. Last year, humble. I agree there with you totally. You actually had a look. You had a look at your life. There's a lot of things you had to let go of. But did you, in actual fact, really need all that excess in your life? Did you need it? You know, it brought you back down to the little things that really matter, not all this excess all the time, which I sort of also enjoyed. You know, even it's hard to let go of things and sell cars and sell, but at the end of the day, did you need it? Did you need it to cool? Or do you need that food in the fridge? Or do you need that cup of coffee in the morning? You know, so that excess living for me was, you know, a really cleaned up, taught you manners, but it was a good exercise to go through because it humbled you again.
Yeah.
It brought you back down to where you started, what you realized what was important in life when you first started in your 20s. You know, when you got your first flat and there's no furniture in it, but a kettle and maybe a bed. You know what I mean? So it brought you back down. I
gotta tell you guys the story. So like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, my fridge gives up. Okay, now I've had this fridge for the fucking 10 years. It was a cock fridge, it was an old fridge, but it was a fridge and it worked. Okay. So I had to buy another fridge. So, you know, sitting in the situation, so I go through and I buy a fridge on Macro because it's on sale and they deliver it. You know, when you see these posts on Wish, when someone ordered something big and it comes really small. Okay. So this fridge arrives, okay, after a week. And it fits like under my arm, chest type of thing. And anyway, he said they picked this thing off, and I'm like, why are you using a fucking crane? I can carry this. Like, this thing is so small. And I swear it looks like it's the smallest fridge ever. But, and it's exactly like you said, your mindset goes, I have a fridge. You know? Yeah. I have a fridge. 2 years ago, I would have been completely fucking pissed off and gone off about this whole thing. But now it's your mindsets. I've got a fridge. Spending 30 Rand on a carton of milk means more now than it did 2 years ago.
Yes.
And you can say that to someone.
Yeah.
Unless they've now been there where they where you've been earning thousands. And all of a sudden, 30 Rand for a fucking carton of milk means more to you than it did a year ago, when you didn't even think about spending 30 Rand.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Now, picture what our readers are going through when they walk into a petrol station.
Yeah.
Okay. They need that 30 Rand for the milk.
Yeah.
Maybe some smokes. Do I really need to buy that magazine? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not too sure if I'm not too sure if I can.
That's why you love it more at the moment. But listen, with that said, so I was talking to Mike, like I said, from Drag Illustrated and this type of stuff. And what magazines are doing, a lot of magazines, and I know there's some titles in South Africa that wants to do it as well. So they were thinking now, because they said the biggest problem is there's no advertisers at the moment. So they think of moving magazines to every 2 months, but then pushing up their price range. I thought about that. Okay, I thought about that. It comes back to the first sentence you said. When you were a kid and that magazine was $100 and you couldn't afford to buy it. Okay. And I look at your market and I even look at my market and I go, yeah, but it's not there. There's not there. I know Hot Rod Magazine, because RNA used to distribute Hot Rod Magazine, and Hot Rod Magazine was selling for 100 and I think 140 Rand in South Africa. But I knew for a fact that RNA was only bringing in 200 Hot Rod magazines into the country that was available in spas. Okay. And I know how hard it was to sell those magazines. And I'm turning around going, it's not going to work.
It can't work. We've also thought about that.
Yeah, you're going to end up with a massive print bill.
You're going to be sitting without any income for 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll have no income for 3 months. That's it.
You know, when we thought of going to a bumper edition like most of your publications do over December and Jan. But the problem is when you start thinking about it and sit down and calculating it, you've got you've got bills for 2 months. You don't have bills
I
for a
did that.
bumper edition.
Does not work. Okay, that was the
And
worst
does-
fucking decision I made.
Yeah. Does that bumper edition, do you print double now of the bumper edition
Nah.
to sell double, or do you keep it as a single
Annie,
print?
regardless,
it's
you
like-
are fucked for January.
Yeah.
You are fucked for January, regardless, because
Yeah.
getting everything in, and we know how slow payment stuff and everything comes in. You're hitting the shelf, because think about how long it takes before you get your money back from that magazine. It really I made that decision a few years ago, and I should have never done it. I should have never done that, where I do a bumpered edition for December and I skip Jan, and I make it like
I was too scared to put our business under that pressure, especially when we had staff and we had mouths to feed their families. And we were often approached to do it because we were also part of Caxton at that stage. And I just didn't want to do it. I couldn't do it.
I wanted to ask, what happened with that now? No, because I mean, is Caxton still there? Is they gone? A little bit of Caxton.
Yeah, they're hovering in the background. They've obviously got a lot of issues of their own to sort out.
Yeah.
The whole closing down of magazines last year and the restructuring of RNA. So I'm not too sure what's happening there. We're just doing what we need to do for our family, and that's
We've just got our blinkers. We've got our blinkers and we're looking forward, and that's what we're trying to do.
Kijk nooit forward.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of companies close. We put 20 years behind this brand. It's scary, but you have to carry on pushing it.
You need a fight.
Okay.
I knew, you know what? We always knew social media was gonna hit us. Okay, I just didn't know that it was gonna hit us so soon. Okay, so when Honda Tuning closed down, along with all the other 11 titles in America, and there's like 10 million freaking Hondas in America, and they closed down, it like tells you what is coming.
They closed down. I mean, that day they closed down Street Rodder, and Street Rodder was Street Rodding was, they were calling that the Hot Rod Bible.
Yeah.
I mean that title got, but the only one they left was Hot Rod. But then again, Hot Rod's the oldest, I think it's the oldest or second oldest motoring publication in the world.
Yeah.
I think the only motoring magazine that was Auto Trend that came out in the UK, which was a few months before Hot Rod magazine was actually launched.
Do they still hold that Hot Rod Week?
Oh, fuck yeah. They're busy with that. Yeah, that and Drag Week. Dude, Drag Week's insane.
Drag Week, that's a Drag Week.
Yeah, I actually had Tom Bailey on the show a while back. He wrote, actually, I think that was for Drag Week. He wrote his car off. He wrote that Camaro off. Did you guys see Lutz? Lutz wrote off his 57.
I saw that.
I wanted to cry.
But that Drag Week was organized by the guys at Hot Rod, am I right?
Yeah, it's part of Hot Rod, yeah. That's Freiburg and those guys that's doing that.
Yeah.
No, Drag Week is insane. Go check out the episode I did with Tom Bailey. He explains, because I think he's won Drag Week like 2 or 3 times. He's got that daily drive with that 4-second fucking street driving Camaro, which is just stupid.
That's insane. Beautiful. It's a beautiful car, man. It's beautiful, man.
No, but those areas are just crazy at the moment. The guy I interviewed, so Mike Carpenter, the guy I did yesterday, so he actually writes for Drag Illustrated, and they want to know more about South African drag cars, by the way. So I said, so maybe we need to look, because I mean he's known about Bueller and all these guys, so they'd like to feature some of the South African cars, drag cars and stuff on that side, just to expand more on the whole thing. And then I'm busy with. So I was talking to him, and then last week I also spoke to Chris Coddington, Boyd Coddington's son.
Okay.
You know who Boyd Coddington is, right?
Yeah.
No,
He passed about 5 years ago, I think.
No, God, more than that. He passed. I had an article that his wife helped me with in the first magazine when he passed. So that's 15 years ago. But I spoke to his son.
Okay.
So I've got him coming on. I've got a bunch of interesting people coming onto the show. The funny thing is, and I shit you not, it is easier for me to get hold of some fucking big guy in the US to get him on the podcast than get anybody in fucking South Africa on the show.
I'm sorry I took so long.
It's all your fault, Annie. I'm just saying. All right? No, seriously, like,
But yeah,
the guys, it's I don't know if they're scared to talk or scared what they're gonna say or they're gonna piss someone off.
Africans are funny. I don't know what it is though. It's just, I don't know. It's like going back to the emails. Like no one answers the emails.
Yeah.
Like now
It's like,
no one gets back to you about podcasts. It's like everyone's in a bubble.
I'm giving you half an hour to go onto a show and say how fucking awesome you are. Okay. Why would you not say yes? Okay. We are just here to celebrate you and what you've accomplished in your life. That's the point of the fucking show.
But let me tell you something. If an American podcaster approached them,
oh God, yeah, different story.
Immediately. I found a lot with that with regards to local features. Like if I did an American feature in Speed and Sound, the Americans would love it and they'd share it. They'd go apeshit. And
look at where
they appreciate it. They actually appreciate it. Then you do something on a South African car, for example, and it's quite cool. And then say they get featured in an American publication or an American social media platform, they share it 10 times more than what they would with us.
No. Here's the thing that's irritated me the most. Okay. So you do a story on something, and it wasn't you guys, and then someone else does a story on the same thing in another publication, and then everybody goes, "Oh, that is so much better," and you're like, literally, you left like half the fucking story out of the whole thing. Okay, or your phone, and you're sitting there because I found it depends on who the friends are and who the keyboard cowboys are on social media. It sits behind everything, if that makes sense.
but I also look at that as the integrity of the owner of the car. You know, the guys have always come to us and says, "Listen, we're going to feature in Max Power.
We had the same car in the same month.
Yeah, and I want to feature in Speed and Sound." And you tell this guy, like, "Listen, I'm not going to feature your car because it has been in another publication." They get stroppy with you.
But people don't know. Speed and Sound and SA Hot Rods had exactly the same car in the magazine in the same month.
Which one?
Black 57 Chevy truck. White wall, shot in Pretoria. Owner didn't tell me that you guys just did a shoot on it.
Marco, was it Marco?
I think it was Marco. Ended up on my cover. Marcus.
Yes.
Ended up on my cover in your, and I was pissed, and someone's like, "Oh, Speed and Sound." I'm like, no, actually, I'm not angry at you. I was angry at the owner because and after that, every time we did it, and it was the first thing I would say is, haven't been featured. Has anyone done a shoot in your car? No, they haven't. Okay, cool. Then we can do it. Why don't you want my car somewhere else? I'm like, no, I don't want to have the same car in the same publication. Doesn't matter how fucking cool it is. It's just
it's like at one stage I just felt like you were a trophy on their wall. Like if they could con all the magazines that 1 month to get their car, it was a total giggle for them because they did it. You know what I mean? And then we'd be like the laughing stock because they got their car in every single publication. So after a certain point, we also started asking, "Listen, have you done it? Have you been featured?" You know,
there's nothing worse than walking to a supermarket and seeing two magazine brands with the same cover.
Nah, fuck no.
With the same car.
No one wants to see that.
No,
It just feels like there's not enough content to go around.
That's like seeing a naked, ugly mother-in-law or something like that. No one wants to see that. No one- it's like-
we actually used to ask the drivers, say, right, have you been featured before in the past 3 months?
yeah,
Are you going to be featured in the next 3 months? What is happening?
exactly.
And some used to be honest, some never used to be honest.
Yeah.
And there were some instances where their cars were, say, featured in some magazine, and we refused to publish the car because it just didn't feel right. I mean,
I did the same thing. I did exactly. And they're like, oh, well, and I'm like, no thanks. The car's already, dude, to me, it's a simple thing. Dude, your story's been told.
Yes.
Why must I tell it again?
Yes, I agree.
Because
there's a lot of
all I'm doing now is telling the story different to you. And now people, and the problem is with the way we receive information. Okay, who's coming out there at the background that is completely inappropriate? No, sorry.
My daughter.
say hi.
Hello.
It's my youngest.
What people don't understand is the point. Now there's 2 articles about it. Obviously, people are going to go, but this one says that because the information that you got was different. Because people don't understand what we've got is just based on the information that we're given. You can only write a story on the information that you're given. That's why I've always hated doing stories on cars where the guy's just bought a car. If he's got no idea who fucking built it, where it's from, what's gone into it. He saw it at a cool shop and he bought it because it's pretty. And that you do a story on it and you're like, but why?
Yeah.
Because I always like hot rods when I was a kid. And you're like, but fuck, dude, no wonder you read in the magazine. That's what all of us, that we're all here, okay?
And then we would get the flack, exactly what you went through. We would get the flack from previous owners to say why we didn't give credit to him. Meantime, the new owner never mentioned him in any equation or any of the workshops that the previous owner used.
No.
Hey, it's your fault because you know.
No, the worst is if the car, if you feature a car, you've written the story, and then you've got another shop that's done work on the car that's really pissed off because they actually did the work and someone else took all the credit for it. Do you guys know how many times people have wanted to include me in lawsuits because they are not happy with the car was featured and the guy's not happy with the end result and it's my fault because I featured it, and I'm like, what the fuck? I had a guy that wanted to include me into a lawsuit because he chose to send his truck to a shop that he saw on my TV show.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, but I looked at your show and your show said this guy was great. I'm like, yeah, because the guy's great. No, but he did this. And I'm like, but that's a dispute between you. Why the fuck am I in this conversation?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, you know what that's just egos.
No, but that actually, you know what the worst part was of that conversation? Is people would then phone me and go, where should I send my car? And I won't tell you. And they're like, why? I said, because if you're going to be pissed off in fucking 6 months or something doesn't happen or you don't like the color of his shoes or fucking something, you're going to phone me and you're going to cuck on me about it.
The worst part about that is you have a personal life out of your business and out of your magazine. So wherever you send your personal cast to is not a reflection of what your magazine endorses. So often Joel and I got into many arguments in terms of where we used to send our personal cars because it was Speed and Sound endorsed workshops. You know, we could never have a private life with regards to where we send our cars because the readers would think they're endorsing this gentleman, and then the advertisers that are advertising for these superchargers are like, why are you taking your car to this guy and not sending it to me because I'm an advertiser of yours? You know, we got into so much trouble because people just couldn't see that we were people as well.
Yeah.
You know, we have personal preference as well. What we put out there in the magazine is our passion, but you know, we don't often. I like things done a different kind of way, so I'm going to send my car to a different person.
My pet peeve with publishing is when they dictate everything, their whole feature from start to finish.
Yeah.
How it should be shot, where it should be shot, when it should be shot.
How the article should be written.
It has to be on cover.
Can I read the article before you go to print?
It has to be on cover. You know, I need to see the article. Make sure this is they control freaks.
I had a guy. I had one guy especially who always wanted to do cover, and he would phone me and go, "Are you gonna do a shoot?" And I'll go, "Yes," because it's a cool car. And he goes, "I want cover," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." 4 months down the line, and at first he was pissed off, and then after like a year, he would go, "Okay, cool. September is mine." I'm like, "Cool. It's if I get to you by September. If I find something that's better than your car, I'm moving you up another month. So I'll move you up until I don't have, because my wording for cover was always, and guys didn't understand that my cover depends on the photo. I think, Joel, you'll understand this, okay?
Yeah.
You create the cover, and you can have the best fucking car there is, but if there's not a photo that speaks to you when you make that cover, and you look at it and you go, nah, it's not gonna work, and you throw something else in there, and like I said, you get people upset. And the weirdest thing is, you can get a guy angry because of the angle you had on his car on the cover, and then you can get a guy who is so excited because you put his car in. Oh wait, my camera that camera died. My battery ran out in the other one. I have to go to the horrible camera. There we go. So you put a photo on that's that big on the cover. You can literally not see his car, and they phone you because it's the best thing that's ever happened to them. That conversation, like when you do a reader's ride or something, and everybody, and he phones you, and his auntie and his uncle, and they tell you that we've just bought out every magazine in a 50K radius of where we are, because there's one fucking photo of a guy's car in there. And you actually look at the magazine and you can go, why can't all the guys be like that? Why can't
100%.
they?
I ask a lot of, well, I've asked a lot of that. Like, nothing grates me more when they say, "Is it going to be on cover?" Like,
It just
I've been
pisses
doing this
you
for
off.
20 years, and I still get that every day, all the time. Is it going to be on cover? And I'm not too sure how to take it. Yes, it's going to sell my magazine. I'm running a business. Should I put it on the cover? Will it work? Will it be successful? Will it go down in flames? But saying that, I'm not telling you how your car should look either.
Exactly. Well, that's something we stopped doing a few years ago. We stopped writing article where we gave opinion on cars, because there was this thing on Facebook. They called it Fricky Foos. And it was basically where guys were just ragging other guys' cars the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was part of the group, but I wasn't part of the group so I could make comments. It was so I could go through it. And here's something that a point of view that I started creating was, the guy might have had a great idea, but he didn't have the skill or funds to achieve the way that he is. But that guy is way more in love with that car than some guy that's just bought a new fucking Ferrari. Okay. Or done a checkbook build at one of the top builders, because it's just another car for him. That was his whole life and everything. And that's always been a part that I've loved about Speed and Sound Side, is you guys always had that. You went through that one phase where you guys had like, only the best, and it was like all these top end cars that no one could reach for. And then you guys went back and you guys hit the roots again, you know, and you started featuring these cars from guys that are really on the street building their own thing. And
I think we had to. I think we had to change our direction a bit, because we've got a vast. I'm sorry. Emails. We got a whole lot of emails coming through from readers saying, "Listen, you guys are featuring high-end cars. Why not feature
cars
something that we can
afford.
relate to?" Yeah, you know. So we did a bit of a U-turn there. But going back to the Freaky Foo stuff, I don't enjoy seeing that on Facebook. That's what the guy could afford to do, tastefully or not. That's what he did. He put his heart and passion into it. Yes, there's tread plate on the dashboard, and there's Tiger Fire powers, whatever. That was his pride and joy.
I did a motor show. We drove with the hot rods from Cape Town to, I think we did the show in Kimberley, and there was one guy that drove with us. They called it the Straatrod. It's this home built hot rod that's completely open on the side. Okay, the car has no fucking doors. It's got no windows on the side. It's got like a roof that he's built on it, but he built this thing by himself. And we get to the show, and now we all drove there, like did a 2 day, I think it was a 1 day drive or something, but it was pissing in the rain the whole time. Okay, now doing a long trip in a modern car in the rain, it's like, oh, it's not fun. Have you ever done it in a hot rod that's got no wipers, no fucking windows that work, no aircon, no sound deadening or anything? Okay, it's the coolest thing in the world.
Memories.
Hey, it is. It's the best road trip ever. So we're sitting at the show, and these guys walk past the Straatrod, and they go, Jesus, look at this thing. And my buddy Jock that was there turned around and said, you know that this guy drove 900 Ks in the rain, in shorts, to be here.
Yeah.
It's like, where the fuck is your car? And where are you in this whole thing? That's the dedication. This guy built a car, took him 3 years, built it himself, and he's driven 900 kilometers in the rain in a car with no doors.
Yeah.
And you think you've got a fucking opinion about it. And that changed my whole mindset on that moment changed my mindset of everything.
Not a lot of people stop to think about that either.
Yeah.
They're quick to comment. They're quick to put their 2 cents without actually just taking a human step back and just thinking about the situation before they jump on how horrific things are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that
It's
people
like,
want to judge. It's a society where we are. We're very quick to judge. We're very quick to do blame game. We're really quick to call people out for being cunts and all this type of stuff, or do the blame thing on social media where we try and expose things, but we're forgetting that there's a story behind everything. There's a reason behind fucking everything. Okay, if I've dealt with enough shops in my life where guys have gone and go, oh, this guy's completely, screwed me over and all this type of stuff. And then you go sit with the shop, and then the shop tells you what's going on, and you're like, what? So the car's been standing with you for fucking 2 years, and the guy didn't pay you, And
but there's always a human reaction to a human reaction.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying there? You're not going to react unless something has happened to you from another human.
Yeah.
So, if somebody is out there bitching and moaning, that's his story. And then somebody out, like I said, it's a human reaction to a human reaction, and that's going to happen.
My greatest pain with Speed and Sound is going to all these events and going out of town and getting readers. They approach you and they say, listen, come look at my car.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, and then you go with them and you see the car, and you know deep down, you know, it's not really feature worthy.
Yeah. It breaks your heart, actually, eh?
How do I break the news to this petrol head
Yeah.
who's got just the same passion as everyone? He just doesn't have the funds. Okay, he
Yeah.
can't get the carbon fiber tailgate, but
Mm.
he's got some other tailgate. It's finding the right way, words to tell him, listen, it's not really feature worthy, but why don't you try that? Why don't you save up and do that? And when that's done, then we can chat and then we can take it further.
That's why
always
I did
been how
readers'
the level
rights.
going up. Yeah, it's
Every
being human. It's being human, you know.
but
one bad word is one reader lost.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly.
not what we ever want.
Okay, guys, I'm running out of wine. I've run out of camera already. This has been a 2-hour show, which is awesome. I've actually had a lot of
Thank you
fun.
for your time. Thank you.
Yeah,
very
we
much
should
for
do
your
this
time.
again.
Oh, we got so much to talk about.
We do, because we've sat in the same parallel universe for so long with the same stuff. But I'm serious. Let's get some more people. Let's get some guys on the show. Let's just start communication. And seriously, any guys, is there anything I can do? If there's anything, any company you guys want to get hold of, or something that you see who I'm talking to, or something, then talk to me.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you very much.
Because
Thanks, man. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
No, I just want to, like I said, I love print, and I want to see something part of print continue, in South Africa. And if I can't be there, and if I can at least contribute towards it, then I will.
Yeah.
You know?
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for what you're doing too, man. Very cool.
Yeah, fuck, dude. I'm just sitting drinking wine, talking cock to people. That's it. I've got an easy job. You gotta go design shit. I've done the design and the music stuff and everything already. It's just like plug and play it. So guys, listen, you guys have a great evening, and thank you so much.
Cool.
Man. It was really awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you. Ciao. Ciao.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.